Aw, shit. Honey, I just blew up the motherfucking kid. You guys remember that movie? Welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, one of your co-hosts, and the other co-host, Brian Sudfield. On this week's episode, we take a look at our top 5 favorite live-action Disney films in honor of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Dead Man's Chest on Stranger Tides, Curse of the Black Pearl on World's End, in honor of that film. So what will we pick for our list? It's going to be a lot of fun. It's going to get crazy. It's going to get kooky. It's going to get very wacky. And guess what? We were born in the 90s, so guess what? We're probably going to have a bunch of 90s Disney films. I know, shocker, we're a bunch of millennials. I'm sorry. So what will we put on our list? You're going to have to sit down, relax, and find out. What's up, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Top 5 Saturdays Live with me, Chase Lee, and my co-host,
Brian Sudfield.
That's fucking right. Hey, listen, guys, if you're new to the show, welcome. What we do on the show is we take a look at some of the movies coming out on Friday. We will pick a movie, and we will honor said movie by picking out an actor, actress, director, what have you, and we will make a top 5 list according to that, and we will put that movie on a fucking pedestal, and we will honor the shit out of it. Anyways, the cool thing about the show is we do it live, so we have no idea what the hell's going to come out of our mouths, and we don't know each other's lists. So it makes it all the more fun, especially on this week's episode, because there are many fucking decades I had to look through to see what movies I have seen. All right, so anyways, before we get into that, Brian, how are we doing this week?
I'm good. How are you, sir?
Oh, just another week. Back from seeing the woman, it was lovely as always. So we are back to business, and so we're gonna get this going. So, but how are you enjoying your summer vacay?
I mean, I'm seeing all my friends. You know, it's fun. It's fun not worrying about schoolwork and shit. But it's fun. I always sleep late. You know, I go to bed late, and then I wake up late, and then I'm realizing to myself, wow, I have no life. So, you know, that's a joyous thing in life. So, yeah, but other than that, summer vacay so far is pretty good.
Well, like I told you last week, just enjoy it now before you get older and realize the pit of doom is to await you, and that would be adulthood. But, speaking of not getting sleep, I know this has nothing to do with it, but Brian knows how much I talk about this damn show, and I have to bring it up. If you guys are into Twin Peaks, or if you're into David Lynch, I would suggest to watch the Return Twin Peaks season. It's fucking bizarre. It's even weird for my taste, and I'm enjoying it so far. So I want to know, all you out there, like who are the Twin Peak heads out there? Please let me know down below. That show has been giving me nightmares, and also I've been watching. I finished it. It was The Keepers, and that's a Netflix original docuseries, and that was freaky as hell. And that pattern has been eradicated for like the past week. I'm gonna probably die soon from like a heart attack. So if I die in the middle of the recording, Brian knows what to do to finish it. All right. So speaking of doing the episode, what are we doing this week?
This week, in honor of Pirates of the Caribbean, Dead Man Tell No Tales, which, by the way, I just saw an hour ago, we are going to be talking about our favorite live-action Disney films.
Yes, and just like the intro that I put in the beginning of this episode, we're probably going to have a bunch of films from the 90s, and we're probably going to have a bunch of modern stuff. And it's not because we don't like older Disney films, it's because I am an older millennial, Brian is a newer millennial, so we're going to have kind of like that 90s, 2000s flavor all over our list, and that's not a bad thing, because I was looking at the list earlier today, and first of all, Disney has a shit ton in their catalog, whether it be animation or live action, but I've seen some of the older ones, like for instance, like the original Parent Trap, or like the original Freaky Friday. I have seen those, but growing up in the 90s, I'm kind of a little bit more exposed to the 90s era of Disney films, and kind of the modern ones and whatnot, and that's what I kind of grew up on, so those are the ones that kind of affected me the most, and that's why they're going to be on my list. So yeah, I'm excited to jump into this, because I'm not going to lie, just giving you a heads up, most of them are sports movies, and that's not because, that's all they make. It's like they were prominent in the 90s. I remember like a new sports movie from Disney, coming out every 2 months. It was just crazy. But yeah, I'm excited to throw down on the Mouse House. So Brian, I don't know, like when you see Disney is making something, do you get more excited for animated, live action, hybrid, whatever the fuck? I mean, do you even like live action ones?
I like their live action ones a lot because, I mean, even though I could say, and I think you could agree with me, most of them are pretty fucking predictable.
Yeah.
It's still like awesome to see Disney tackle something in the live action format, whether it be their sports movies. They have some biopics, they have some superhero stuff, some I don't know, comedies, and most of their live action stuff recently have been hit or miss, but there are plenty of them that are absolutely fantastic. And yeah, I'm really excited to jump into this as well, and I just honestly want to get into it right now.
Yeah, it's like I said, if you guys want to search up all of Disney's like just catalog, go on Wikipedia, and that thing will just blow your mind. They've been making movies for so many fucking years now. It's just it just kind of blows your mind. But anyways, yeah, let's jump into it. So the top 5 live action Disney films in honor of Pirates of the Last Caribbean film. So Brian, I have to ask you every single week. It might change, but for right now, I'll stick to it. What is your number 5 favorite live-action Disney film of all time so far?
Okay, my number 5, this is the only sports movie I have on my list, and I would probably go on a limb by saying it's probably the most popular Disney sports film, and that's Remember the Titans.
Okay.
As someone who grew up watching this, and I gotta say this right now, Denzel Washington, he's played a lot of, good characters and everything. This is probably the nicest character he's ever played in his career. It has to be, for sure. This is a great story. I haven't seen this movie in years, and it's just a really exciting, really well-balanced drama, and Denzel carries the movie. You watch the movie, and you could tell, right away that Denzel is going to be the best thing about the movie, and he is. The football sequences are well done. All the other actors are great. You got some introductions from, like, Ryan Gosling's in the movie. Donald Faison, a.k.a. Turk from Scrubs, is in it. For people who watch Sons of Anarchy, Opie's in this movie. Plenty of other people whose names I can't think of. And young Hayden Panettiere, she's in this movie too. And it's great. It's a really heartfelt family drama. There are some sequences that are really, really intense. And I remember when I first saw this movie, and I don't want to make any jokes about this, but this was the movie when I was like, I think I was like 6 or 7 years old. This was the first time I ever saw 2 guys kiss in a movie, so it was kind of weird for me. And it's a great sports movie. It's definitely one of the better ones of the 2000s. It's not one of like an Oscar type of movie or anything, but like Creed, for example. But it's really great, really heartfelt, solid. My number 5.
I'm gonna pass. So yeah, that's a good pick. My number 5 is my only modern pick. That's right. I picked one film. It was between this and another one, and I wanted to throw a modern one on there because I want to kind of show out there that Disney does still have it when they hit it. Most of it's garbage, but when you kind of sift through the shit, if you will, you can find some gold gems a little bit. But anyways, this is my only modern pick, and the rest are from the 90s and maybe a little later. And so my number 5 was between 2 films, one of which came out in 2011, and one of which came out in 2015. Anyways, the 2 I had basically battled it out to the death was The Muppets and Saving Mr. Banks. Brian, which one do you think I went with?
I think you went with The Muppets.
I almost did. I went with Saving Mr. Banks. I think it's because that movie just kind of caught me off guard because, like I said, most of the time live action Disney films are terrible. And when you think about like the modern era, like The Game Plan or the fucking Tooth Fairy or Jesus, The Pacifier with Vin Diesel, it's like it's the Shaggy Dog movie with Tim Allen. You guys remember that garbage? Anyways, when you think of modern live action Disney films, you almost want to like throw up your dick all over the table. But there's also some movies out there like The Muppets that will surprise you. And The Muppets was a lighthearted film. It had some really great kind of heartfelt moments. It was very what was the word? Like spoof like, satirizing. There you go, satirizing. Hollywood and whatnot. It was a really clever and well written movie, and it had Jason Segel writing it, and he was also in it. It was such a great surprise, but a better surprise. And I always get really fascinated when Disney dips their toes in the PG-13 pool. I always get really fascinated. So excluding Pirates and the Marvel movies and some of the other movies, they rarely ever make a PG-13 film with just a straight up drama. So I'm not going to lie, it was the rating that actually persuaded me to see it, because I was like, oh, this is going to be more of an adult film. This is going to be, a film aimed towards, the parents that, might take their kids or whatever. But I loved it. I loved all the performances, and I think Colin Farrell really kind of stole that movie. He was really emotionally powerful in that one. And Emma Thompson, who plays P.L. Travers, she's a stubborn woman, but she played it off very well. And Tom Hanks did a very good job playing kind of that suave Walt Disney that he probably was back in the day, trying to get the rights to Mary Poppins. It's just a really well done, I guess, biopic. It kind of harkens back on a moment in time when Walt Disney was trying to get the rights to Mary Poppins. But I think the strongest aspect about the film is the performances across the board and how they carry it and really make these characters come to life. And then when you go home and start looking up the stories and whatnot, you can kind of picture those actors in those in the roles of the people that were actually in this situation. So yeah, I really like Saving Mr. Banks a lot. It's like I said, that and the Muppets are probably my only modern live action Disney pick. Yeah, because I'm a guy. I gotta be honest with you guys, not a fan of the live action remakes that they're doing. Like Alice in Wonderland, Maleficent, Beauty and the Beast. I have not seen Cinderella, but I heard that's the best one so far. But I did not like Beauty and the Beast whatsoever. So I'm not a fan of what they're doing right now with all that stuff. So I'm gonna go with Saving Mr. Banks.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to pass on this one.
Oh shit. Well, all right. So we both passed on our number 5s. That's interesting. All right. So number 4, what you got?
Honestly, you brought up how Save Mr. Banks and the Muppets were really your only modern picks. Pretty much my top 4, they're all modern.
Oh shit!
So I don't have any ones from the '90s, and many of them are in my honorable mentions. But
So is Remember the Titans your oldest one?
Yeah, it is my oldest one.
Whoops.
And that came out literally in 2000. So yeah. All right, my number 4, I'm going with the awesome young adult film Bridge to Terabithia.
Interesting. I've actually never seen the movie, but I have watched the Nostalgia Critic and a couple others that reviewed it, and they basically went beat by beat. So I actually know the whole story, so I don't really need to watch it. But explain to me why I should watch it, and explain to everyone listening why they should watch it.
When I was a kid, I read this book in elementary school, so it was something really pivotal to me. And when I saw the movie, it was so lighthearted. You have Josh Hutcherson and Anna Sophia Robb in their prime, playing these two different people. Like Josh Hutcherson, he's poor. His father's Robert Patrick. He just lives on a farm. And character, she's rich. She just came from this small town. She's kind of an outcast. I mean, so is Josh Hutcherson's character. So then they become friends. They go across the river or whatever, and they create this magical land called Terabithia. And it was really, really compelling, really heartfelt. Halfway through the movie, I'm not going to spoil it for people who haven't seen it, but something happens to one of the characters, and it gets depressing. It becomes very mature, and everybody starts to evolve. The performances get more mature, especially Josh Hutcherson's performance. I never considered him to be that bad of an actor. He's a fine actor for what Sathora, Hunger Games. He's fine. He's not bad or anything. But he was really good in this movie. He was so good, especially in the second half of the movie. Character matures a lot more than it. When you compare his character from the second act to the first, it's very different. And It's really great. The scenery is wonderful. Feels like it has like the magic of Narnia and like Harry Potter put together. And yeah, it's just a story about finding your imagination and growing up, and like not everything that you think is fake is fake. So it's a really just brilliantly told story, and it's great. It's one of the best coming of age movies, I would say, that involves kids that are like, under the age of 12. So this is like elementary school kids. So yeah, Bridge to Terabithia, fantastic. I think it turns 10 years old this year, which is crazy. So yeah, Bridge to Terabithia is my number 4.
Yeah, like I said, I never saw it. And believe it or not, I was actually working at the movie theater at the time it came out, and I saw movies for free. Brian knows this because he works at one right now, but I still haven't seen it. But like I said, I've watched so many reviews and stuff to where I already know what it's about. So I'm not like in any rush to see it, but I do want to actually check it out eventually. Hey, Netflix, if you're listening, why don't you just drop that? Just drop it on there. Just leave it on the curb, okay? And I'll pick it up, okay? Just leave it on your servers. I will pick it up and I'll watch it. All right, that is for Netflix. At Netflix, Netflix, are you listening? All right, so my number 4 is my oldest one on the list. And I've seen this movie multiple times. I've seen all the other movies in the, I guess, franchise, if you will. But this was the OG, and I absolutely adore it. I remember my parents got it on VHS. Yeah, that's right. Lived in the VHS days. But yeah, this actually came out, I think, 8 months before I was born. So that's how old it is. And that would be 1989's Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. I absolutely fucking love this movie. It is so much fun, and it is so creative and so imaginative. If you guys know what it's about, Wayne Zielinski, played by the great Rick Moranis, he creates this machine that shrinks things. His kids and the neighbor's kids get into the attic where the machine's at. They accidentally shrink themselves, and they get lost by getting flung out into the backyard, which is basically like a whole different world when you're that tiny. I just remember as a kid, it was just so wildly imaginative, because when they would get into the backyard, these kids were actually on sets. Like, they actually like rebuilt grass and like dirt and stuff, and made it like 100 feet high. Not that high, but you understand what I'm saying. But like they made it look so much bigger than it actually is, because of the comparison of the kids that have actually been shrunk. So it's actual sets. You can feel like they really are walking there. It feels real, and there's a couple times where they get into food, and there's a part where they sleep in a Lego. It's so amazing on how they built all these sets, and it's just a fun movie to watch. And basically, the whole premise is they have to get their dad's attention to blow him up again. So, yeah, it's a lot of fun. It's really funny. It's really creative, and the set design is some of the most impressive I've ever seen in any Disney film, for sure. The other ones in the franchise, Honey, I Blew Up the Kid, kind of strange, kind of weird, not really my thing. Basically, Wayne Zielinski blows up their toddler, and it's like the size of Godzilla, like running throughout the city. It's really bizarre. And then the third one was actually the modern one in the early 2000s, which was Honey, We Shrunk Ourselves. And he and his wife and the neighbor's husband and wife shrink themselves, and they have to get their kids' attention and whatnot. I don't know. I've always found like a nostalgic factor to it, for sure. But I think the first one, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, is always great. And if you get the VHS copy, I still remember this. There is a Roger Rabbit cartoon in front of it. So yeah, that's how old school that movie is. So yeah, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids is definitely one of my favorites from my childhood. And it's one of those movies, and many other movies like Spaceballs and stuff, that just make you miss Rick Moranis. Rick, if you're listening, please come back, sir. We all miss you. Brian, what do you have to say about the Honey, I Shrunk the Whatever franchise?
I've only seen the first. I saw when I was a little boy. I remember. I always remembered going on the ride too. That was at Disney World.
Yeah.
So yeah, I remember it was at Epcot, where I believe, I don't know, I think Captain EO is there right now, the Michael Jackson 3D movie, Fame Majiggy. I haven't seen it forever, so I can't like say if I liked it or not. I think I liked it when I was a little kid. Honestly, when I was a little kid, I liked pretty much everything I watched. So yeah, I totally get putting it on here for the nostalgic factor. That's totally understandable, but I really can't give you my full opinion on it because I haven't seen it in like 10 years, so it's been a long time.
That's just really pitiful. All right, so
I'm sorry.
I guess. All right, so moving on to our top 3. These are the movies that have shaped us. These are the movies that we grew up on. They have shaped and molded our minds into movie fans, and to the people that we are today. So, leading into that, Brian, what is your number 3? Because you have passed on one of them so far, and I don't know where you put it. I'm going to assume top 2. So I'm gonna say your third spot's kind of like the middle one where I'm not really sure what it is. So, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is, to me, one of the more underappreciated superhero films of all time, Sky High.
Okay, yeah, you talk about this movie quite a bit. Now, I will say that I've seen Sky High, and I love me some Kurt Russell always and forever. And it was a lot of fun when I saw it. I couldn't put it on my list, but I mean, hell, I put Honey, I Shrunk the Kids on my list, so I have no room to talk. So, Brian, take it away. Sky High, give it to us.
Okay, Sky High to me, like I said, I think it's one of the more underappreciated superhero films we've ever gotten. Obviously it's not a Marvel movie or a DC movie. It's obviously Disney's own original thing, but it's so fucking funny. It's so much fun. It's so energetic and vibrant. You have great actors in this movie. Like Chase just said, Kurt Russell. Kurt Russell right now, I mean, after watching, the Fast and Furious movies, The Hateful Eight, and Guardians of the Galaxy 2, Kurt Russell, man, the guy's he's in his 60s, and he is so goddamn charming. When I turn 65 or 66, however old he is, I want to be just like him. Kurt Russell's just so fucking wonderful. He's amazing. I digress. No, it's cool that you have all these classic 80s actors in this movie. Like, you have Kurt Russell playing the father of the kid. You got Linda Carter playing the principal. And you got fucking Bruce Campbell playing the gym teacher. You have awesome people in this movie. It's great. And, the kids are great. For people who don't know what this movie's about, it's about this kid, Will Stronghold. And his parents are the Commander Jetstream, played by Kurt Russell and Kelly Preston. They're two of the famous superheroes on the planet. And, now he has to go to high school, Sky High, where it's the kids of all these superheroes and supervillains around the world. And he doesn't have his powers, but then one point during the movie, he starts to get his powers and shenanigans ensue. It's a great movie. And, when I rewatched it a few months ago, I was pretty shocked because I thought the movie would lose its value, but it still holds up somehow. I mean, sure, there are some moments that don't hold up very well, but in my opinion, I'm like, for a movie I saw when I was 7 years old because it came out Jurassic 5, I was like, I'm really surprised that this holds up very well. And it's weird because the guy who directed it is Mike Mitchell, and he's quite interesting when it comes to his filmography. He doesn't really have the best filmography because he's done a lot of DreamWorks movies. I believe he was an animator on Shrek 2, Shrek 3, Monsters vs. Aliens. He directed the fourth Shrek, which I fucking hate. He directed Shipwreck, which I fucking hated. He directed the recent SpongeBob movie, which was not bad. And then he directed Chase's favorite movie of last year, Trolls.
Ugh.
So yeah. It's weird, but Sky High is fucking good. And yeah, and apparently there's gonna be a sequel. If they wanted to do a sequel, they should have done it like 10 years ago. So, but I love Sky High. It still holds up to say I think it's a ton of fun. I really appreciate it. It's awesome. One of Disney's more underappreciated and underrated live action films, and it's also my number 3.
Yeah, listen, like I said, I've seen Sky High before, and I enjoyed it for what it was. It was just like, hey, that was a cool movie. It was a nice family film. There's really nothing more to say. My number 3. Now, I realize that this man is an iconic comedic figure, and I realize that he's done other stuff and he's iconic for other roles, but I would argue that one of his best roles and one of my favorite movies he was ever in is John Candy as the Jamaican bobsled coach in Cool Runnings. Cool fucking Runnings. If you guys have never seen this, it's based on the real life story of this guy forming together a bobsled team in Jamaica. There's no ice in Jamaica, so it's fucking weird. And then they practice like on like the dirt hills and stuff. Listen, I love me a good like underdog story and a good sports movie, and this is definitely an underdog movie for sure. You have these 4 guys who have never seen a bobsled in their life, let alone seen ice or snow probably in their life, and you have this guy that's like, oh, let's do this, and he's doing it for his own selfish reasons. But throughout the movie, he starts to kind of grow to love them and really kind of coach them and really kind of help them along the way. And like I said, it's a 100% like definition of an underdog story, just because these guys have never done this in their life. They take on this feat and they do it with great triumph. And I really like all the actors in it. They have really great chemistry. They bounce back and forth off really well. It's actually really funny, like, especially like at the very beginning when they've never even heard of a bobsled or them trying to practice or whatever. It's a really enjoyable film. It's a great sports movie. I would recommend it for anyone that's into sports movies or underdog movies, and it's definitely one of John Candy's best roles. I like him in the movie. He's quite charming, and you can definitely tell he had a lot of fun on that movie for sure. So yeah, I'm gonna go with Cool Runnings. Once again, another nostalgic pick, but it's a very good one. I'm not saying I'm not saying all the other ones on my list are not good. I'm just saying that this is another nostalgia one because I have seen this multiple times and it never gets old. I always like watching it periodically. So Cool Runnings is my number 3.
Yeah, I haven't seen it.
Brian, get on that shit. You should have been born in 1990.
I'm sorry that I was born 8 years later.
Oh,
Blame my parents.
Oh, God. All right. So, yeah, well, I guess Brian can't comment on it. But, I mean, you've heard about it, right? You've heard of Cool Runnings?
Yeah, it was one of John Candy's last movies, so
yeah.
I heard about it for that reason. So, yeah, I do want to watch it because I love John Candy. God bless his soul. But I'll get around to it eventually. If it's on Netflix, I will watch it.
Actually, I forgot where I watched it. Like, I watched it, like, recently. I think maybe, like, last year, one late night on, like, some streaming service. So it might have been either Hulu or Netflix. But, yeah, it's on somewhere. But, yeah, if you guys have not seen it, it's definitely one of my favorite sports movies that they've done, for sure. Because it's literally impossible. Like, you look at this and you go, 4 dudes from Jamaica created a bobsled team, and this is based on a real-life event. What the fuck? Get out of here. So it sounds unreal, but it's a really good one. So, all right, guys, getting into our top 2. This is really fascinating because Brian and I have both passed on both of our number 5s. We're getting into our top 2. Brian, I'm going to let you go ahead and lead this off, and I want you to guess, where do you think my pass movie is? Do you think it's my number 2 or number 1 slot?
Oh, God. Oh, God. Oh. I think your past movie is your number 1.
Okay. I think your past movie is actually the next one, your number 2.
Okay. My number 2 is not the film that I passed on.
Oh shit! So that is your number 1. That's fascinating. So what is your number 2? What are we
my number
working
2?
with?
My number 2 is The Muppets.
Oh shit! Okay. Hey, listen, I'm not gonna fault you for that because The Muppets is fantastic. Now I know. Just real quick, I'm gonna let Brian speak. Muppets Most Wanted is not bad. I liked it. It's enjoyable. But the first one is way superior, and I'm glad that Disney took a crack at it in terms of reviving it and doing it like one last time, because after Most Wanted, they ain't going to make another one again for a very long time because I don't think it really got them a lot of money. So I'm glad that they were able to do at least one great one that made a lot of money and made everyone happy. So, Brian, tell us about The Muppets.
I mean, they tried to continue the success of the Muppets with that TV show, which I thought was good. I thought the show was good.
I thought. Okay, we're gonna go on a tangent here, folks, because
yes, we are.
The Muppets TV show. I don't understand why people didn't watch it. It was a really great, clever, kind of satirical Office type of show, where you take the premise of The Office, make it a mockumentary, and apply it to the Muppets, which has so many great opportunities for like physical comedy, subtle comedy, crude comedy even. This fucking show had so many jokes for adults. I was actually flabbergasted that ABC got...
so was I.
Yeah, I was like, I don't know how they got away with all that stuff, because the movie is PG. It's very family oriented, but there are some adult hidden jokes. That's what the Muppets have always been about. The TV show, there are so many sexual innuendos. I was like, what? How the hell did they get away with it? I'm loving it, but I want to know how they did it. But yeah, that show got canceled way too soon. How many episodes was it? Like 20 episodes or something like that?
It was like 16 or 18.
Ah, Jesus. Well, it was lightning in a bottle. Brian and I enjoyed it. I'm sure there's a handful of you that enjoyed it out there. But the movie is definitely what kicked it off. So, Brian, tell us about it.
Yeah, the movie to me, it's really special because I grew up with the Muppets when I was a kid. I loved these guys so much when I was a little kid. I would watch the show. Like, I would find it on YouTube. One of my favorite episodes, of course, is the one where, it was Star Wars, and then Mark Hamill, 3PO, and R2-D2 come in, and it's incredible. It's just great. If you haven't seen it, Star Wars fan or not, it's pretty incredible. Then I saw the movies when I was a kid, some of the TV specials, and then this movie came out, and I remember it was so funny because I had no idea they were making a Muppet movie until I saw the fourth Pirates of the Caribbean, because I remember I saw that movie, and they were doing this like parody trailer with Jason Segel and Amy Adams. It looked like a typical romantic comedy, and then Kermit the Frog and Miss Piggy come in, then Jason Segel's like, wait, stop. Are there Muppets in this movie? And then it says the Muppets, and it's fucking wonderful. So then I saw the movie, and at the time, I don't want to get too personal, but the movie came out at a really rough point in my life, and I wasn't really happy. This movie made me smile for the first time in so long, and it was just great. Like, not only because, it's a fun movie, it's actually a great movie. There's great storytelling here. It's a great revitalization of the Muppets, In the movie, they've been gone for so long. This character, Walter, and then, Jason Segel and Amy Adams, they decide to go to California to get the Muppets back together to raise money so that they could buy the theater. And, it's just a great, heartfelt story. It's really funny. Like Chase said, there's a lot of, like, adult jokes hidden in there. A lot of meta. Incredible use of meta, satirical humor. It's fantastic. Like, at one point he has, like, flowers, and he's like, oh, they probably just got ruined because of the dance number I was doing just now. So, and then he does it again at the end. He's like, no, I just came all the way from Los Angeles. I sang the song, and I'm done. That's it. The end. So it's great. And, Segel wrote the script with Nicholas Stoller. At the time, he was on How I Met Your Mother, and then he wrote for Garrett and Sarah Marshall. So Segel was on a high point at this time, and he was also a devoted Muppets fan, so he wanted to bring this back, and it was really great. The acting was great. The songs were really good. The song Man or Muppet won the Oscar. It's a great story. It's a great story about finding yourself and returning, because the character Walter, he doesn't know where he belongs in the world, and I'm not going to spoil it, but when you watch the movie, you kind of know where it's going to go, and even if you don't watch the movie, you kind of know where it's going to go as well. It's really heartfelt. I kind of shed a tear a little bit when watching the movie again a few nights ago, and it's just incredible. Also, the cameos in the movie are really good. I loved Jack Black's part in the movie. Okay. This is where we're going to get a little bit inappropriate. Okay, so they kidnap Jack Black at one point. I'm sorry, spoiler. Oops, sue me. They kidnap Jack Black. Miss Piggy comes out, flying out of nowhere. Her legs are wide open, and it goes onto Jack Black's mouth, and I think he was licking some of that bacon. So I don't know if that was intentional. I don't know. I noticed that when watching. I'm like, oh. So I rewind. I'm like, was that intentional, or was that... I'm sorry. The perverted mind of me just noticed that, and it was really, really funny. But no, it's a great movie. And to talk about the sequel, it was okay. It was a little disappointing, but it wasn't bad. So yeah, the Muppets fantastic. And really, guys, if you watch carefully, do you think Jack Black was licking some of that bacon from Miss Piggy? That's my number 2.
Yeah, just don't tell Kermit. Yeah, two things. One, the sequel, I agree with Brian. It's whatever, it's fine. But that opening number where they talk about making sequels are nothing but cash grabs, it's genius. It's like the most meta song ever for a sequel that was made from a movie that made money from the first. It's crazy. But anyways, and the second thing, Jason Segel, where you at, brother? Like, seriously, like, you're on How I Met Your Mother, one of my favorite shows. You wrote and you starred in one of my favorite Judd Apatow produced comedies, Forgetting Sarah Marshall. And then you do The Muppets, which is also wonderful. And now, and he was really great in the end of the tour from a couple years ago. Where has he been at? Like, he just kind of fell off the face of the earth. And, you know, Amy Adams is still doing great. So, like, I don't understand why he can't, you know, I'm sure he's written many scripts. I mean, there's no way that Forgetting Sarah Marshall was a one and done. That was the only thing he ever written and he was done. I want him to produce and even star in another movie that he wrote because he's really good at doing that. So, Jason, if you're listening, since I am your doppelganger for sure, I say this with great sincerity. You can do this. I believe in you. Please get up and make some more comedies, please. All right, so. That is your number 2. So you already know what my number 1 is. But, Brian, do you have any clue what my number 2 is?
Okay, so I know that Remember the Titans was going to be in your top 2. And I know for a fact another movie was going to be in your top 2. And that film is, of course, a movie that I like a lot. I saw it for the first time like a year ago because you recommended it to me. Heavyweights. That has to be your number 2.
Ladies and gentlemen, I just want to say this. For all you wonderful listeners out there that have listened to me and Brian bitch and complain about movies for almost 2 years now, you guys have no idea what I look like. Now, Brian knows what I look like. I will, I guess, visualize it for you. First of all, I'm a sexy hunk of meat. But the second thing is that I'm 6'4" and I'm 260 pounds. I am a big motherfucker. And when I was growing up, I was a fat fucking kid. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. I was overweight then. I'm overweight now, but I'm more filled out now, so it doesn't look as bad. So I'm still kind of unhealthy, but it's not as bad. Before my sweet release of death comes. But since I was fat, I got teased a lot, and I didn't like that shit and stuff. And you know, I would always eat to kind of cope with that, and so it was just it was a vicious cycle. And I sympathize with anyone that goes through any type of eating disorder because, you know, of image issues or whatever. I totally get it. I know where you're coming from. I still kind of do it to this day, and I'm almost damn near 30. But I needed, like, that one movie to kind of show me the lighter side of, you know, big people. And I remember when Heavyweights came out. First of all, fun fact, Judd Apatow co-wrote this, by the way. I did not know who Judd Apatow was until I got older, and then I looked back and I was like, holy shit. He co-wrote one of my favorite movies growing up. But I needed that movie to kind of like get me in a lighter mood, and of course, you know, it's not like a movie that says, you know, keep eating like terrible things and stuff. It's like, you know, towards the end of the movie, they kind of learn like, yeah, these kids are fat, but they're gonna, you know, make an effort to try to, you know, better their lives and get healthier and be more confident and stuff, because that's the thing. It you know, most people like myself that eat, you know, to kind of hide away feelings and stuff, it's, you know, because we're either depressed or very antisocial and stuff. So this was a kind of a hopeful movie in a weird way, even though they're still overweight at the end. But it's a really fun one for sure. If you guys have not seen this one, basically we follow this kid Gerald, who gets sent to a fat camp, and he meets Kenan Thompson on a plane. They both get off that plane, and they get on a bus driven by Pat, and he takes them to the fat camp, and it's run by actually Ben Stiller's dad, real life dad, Jerry Stiller, and they basically say, we can't afford this place anymore. We're going. The new owners will be here shortly. And Ben Stiller comes in, his actual son, and he plays Tony Perkins, who is kind of like this fitness guru that has like a bunch of cameras following around everywhere, and like he wants to try to turn the fat camp into a business. And I'm not even joking when I say this. Like, I've seen Ben Stiller in a lot of movies, and I totally get where people are coming from in terms of them not liking him and thinking he's not funny and whatnot. I get that. He's kind of a hit and miss. I understand that. But two of my favorite movies he has ever been a part of, and this is no lie, it's Tropic Thunder and his role as Tony Perkins in Heavyweights. That fucking performance is so psychotic and so hilarious. Like, I can't even continue how many times I've watched this movie. It is downright entertaining. I love everything about this movie. It's one of those movies when you grow up and you watch it, it's a movie that sticks with you. And even when I get older, I will still continue to watch it. I will, if I have little hellings running around, little spawns or whatever, I will sit their ass down and make them watch Heavyweights and be like, this is what I used to look like. But no, it's got a lot of great quotable lines. Do it to it, Lars. That's where that phrase came from. It's just a lot of fun, and it's probably one of the funniest live action Disney films they've ever done. I enjoy it very thoroughly. So that is my number 2 is Heavyweights, coming from a overweight fat kid as a kid, and then now as a overweight adult but's filled out more. I can relate to it very, very well. So Brian, what do you think about this?
I mean, when I watched it, I thought it was really, really funny. I do want to check it out again. I believe it's still on Netflix. So,
yeah.
I mean, I didn't really expect much. But then when you were like, oh, my God, it's so good, you should watch it. And I said, all right, sure, whatever. So then I watched it, and it was actually really funny. Ben Stiller stole the entire movie for me. Like, I think it's not one of my favorite movies that he's done, but I think that he's really funny and he makes the movie. I mean, the kid's really good. I liked it a lot, and I was very surprised by it because, while Judd Apatow worked on it, didn't Paul Feig work on this too?
Yeah, I forgot what his role was in the movie, but was he in it? Holy shit. Hold on, guys. I know we do this, we record this and whatnot, but and we're not supposed to go off topic.
He was in it. He was in it.
Okay, so yeah, he was one of the camp counselors. That's what I fucking thought. Because when I was watching the movie, I was like, that looks like a skinnier, younger Paul Feig, and yeah, it's him. So yeah, Paul Feig is in this, and Judd Apatow co-wrote it. So there you go. It's a Judd Apatow, Paul Feig creation before Freaks and Geeks. There you go, ladies and gentlemen. So yeah, so I love it. Love it so much. And
yeah.
The VHS cover, I remember getting it, and it's four of the kids from the movie holding up a sub, like a giant sandwich with one of the campers in the middle of the sandwich. It's so ridiculous, but it's one of those covers you definitely remember. So, all right, guys, that is my number 2, and we've reached the point where we both have hit our number 1s, and guess what? It's both of our number 5s opposite of each other. So that's really interesting, actually. So I'll keep it short and brief. Remember the Titans is one of the best things Disney has slapped their name on. If you put that movie in front of anyone and you didn't say it was a Disney film and you bypassed the opening and whatnot, and so they wouldn't see who it was made by, you really couldn't tell that was a Disney film. Because it was a lot more mature than some Disney films that have come before it. It tackles race as well as it can for a PG film. And it actually does, like Brian said, get pretty intense sometimes with a lot of, discrimination and whatnot. And you're like, holy shit, this is a Disney film. But Denzel Washington totally nails it as the coach. He's very inspirational, and he's just this guy that doesn't care what color skin you are. He wants to just have a good football team, and that's such a a great thing about the film, and just really just takes that underdog kind of story and just takes it to a whole nother level, adding these real life issues that have happened back in the 60s and whatnot. So Yeah, I really enjoy Remember the Titans quite a bit. It's one of Denzel's best performances for sure. Because, like what Brian said, he's so opposite from what he usually does. He's not mean. He's not very aggressive. He's just he's kind of aggressive. But, I mean, he's a coach. He's very inspiring, if you will. He's very commanding on screen. He just completely owns the movie, and it gave us such great actors like Donald Faison and Ryan Gosling and stuff. So. It's a really great football movie if you guys have not seen it. And I would probably put it in my top 5 favorite football movies in general. I absolutely love it. It was one of the first movies where I ever watched as a kid because it came out when I was 10. 10 years old. I remember watching it and I was like I felt like I was watching something I wasn't supposed to. I felt like I was watching like an adult movie. I was like, oh shit, like my parents are going to catch me while watching this? And then you realize it's Disney, it's PG, and you're like, wow, that was really intense. They kind of pushed the bar a little bit. And I really wish Disney would kind of take more risk and do stuff like this and make a movie that can be for families but also tackle real-life important issues that kids need to learn and whatnot, kind of with Brian and his Bridge to Terabithia pick. I have not seen it, but I do know what the movie's about from start to finish, and that's also an intense movie that deals a lot with coping and other stuff. I don't want to spoil it, but... yeah, I really miss the days where Disney took risk like that, and they kind of made these kind of intense movies. And Saving Mr. Banks, when this is a great segue to Brian's pick, Saving Mr. Banks, I know it's not PG, but it's PG-13, it's more adult-oriented. They could have easily made that movie super cheesy and super kid-friendly, but they stuck to their guns and made a really great, emotionally impactful film. So speaking of that, so Remember the Titans is my number 1 for sure. Brian, Saving Mr. Banks, why is it the best one to you?
Well, for many reasons alone, it is the best biopic and probably one of the few biopics Disney has tackled. As a filmmaker, this is like a filmmaker's movie because, it's a movie about a movie. And when you have like 3 incredible actors headlining the movie, and Emma Thompson, Tom Hanks, and Colin Farrell, and a few other side people like Paul Giamatti, Bradley Whitford, Jason Schwartzman, B.J. Novak. It's incredible to see a movie like this portrayed on screen. When you watch it, you feel like you're in the time period that it takes place. Both stories, it feels like 2 different movies because you got the one part of the movie where it's about the development of the movie, and Walt Disney just begging P.L. Travers for the film rights, and Harry going, no, I don't like this idea, no, crumpets. And then the other side is her as a little kid, and what basically got her to write the story, and you see her bond with her father, who's played, in my opinion, brilliantly by Colin Farrell, who's always been one of my favorite actors. I think he's one of the more underrated actors of our time. I think he's long overdue of an Academy Award nomination. Honestly, this film was snubbed, in my opinion, for a lot of Oscars because it only got nominated for 1 Best Score, and the score is incredible. But, Emma Thompson should have been nominated for Best Actress because this is probably the best performance I've ever seen her give, and she also has said that this is the most challenging role that she's ever tackled. So, that's saying something. And Tom Hanks was great as Walt Disney, but, he already has many Oscars on his mantle, so it's not different. And so is Emma Thompson, but Colin Farrell should have gotten the Best Supporting Actor nomination because he was incredible. And I don't know if Chase saw the trailer. Did you see the trailer for The Glass Castle, the new Brie Larson movie?
Oh, no, that was one of the ones I skipped. I mean, not purposely. I just, I was... Guys, I was out of state for 4 days. Like, when I got back, like, there was so much movie news and trailers that dropped. I was like, oh, shit.
Oh, well, Woody Harrelson's character in that movie, I don't want to spoil too much, but, he's kind of a vibrant, lighthearted, and loving father, but he also has some trouble inside, similar to Colin Farrell's character in this movie, because when you watch it, his character, you meet him, and he's so likable, but god damn it, he is a mess. He is an alcoholic, and alcoholism is not a healthy thing to battle, and it's really depressing. As his character, like, as the movie progresses and you see his character's downfall, it's really, really dark. And then that leads to P.L. Travers, being kind of the cynical person that she ends up being. And, it's it's really well written. It's weird. The writer of this movie wrote 50 Shades of Grey. It's crazy. And the script for this movie is fantastic, but 50 Shades of Grey, that's different. She was probably trying to adapt the book, which I can't blame her for, money. So John Lee Hancock directed this. He directed The Blind Side before this, which I think is a lot of people give that movie a bad rep. I think it's a good movie, and he made The Founder, and then he made The Founder, which was it was okay. Michael Keaton was incredible in it, of course. But no, the Save Mr. Banks, it's the most mature live action film I think Disney's ever done, excluding their Marvel movies and Pirates and actually Pirates isn't really mature. Sure, it's dark, but it's not mature. And then obviously Star Wars, you exclude that as well. But to me, Save Mr. Banks is the most mature movie, and I agree with you. When I found out it was PG-13, I was pretty shocked too, because I remember hearing about this movie and I thought it would be PG. I'm sure there was going to be some elements that aren't for the kids, but this is really a movie for the big boys and girls. Like, I don't think kids should watch this movie. They think they're gonna fly over their head. They're gonna be like, "Oh, pretty. Oh no, they're dead. Oh boy. Oh, Tom Hanks. Yay! It's Woody." So
Well, I mean, you're right, because they tackled alcoholism. Like I realized,
exactly.
Like I said, if you exclude the Marvel movies, the pirate movies, Star Wars, Disney does not really make PG-13 films under their own house banner, not some sub banner that they own. I'm talking like straight up Disney. So it's very shocking to me that they decided to take the more realistic route and kind of really adapt P.L. Travers in her life, and I commend them for that, and I wish they would do more stuff like this.
Exactly, and I just think it's a really heartfelt and heartbreaking story. It's just really well done. As a filmmaker, I always love movies about movies. So, just learning about the making of Mary Poppins and the development hell that it went through, it's insane, because they wanted to do it this way, but she was like, "Oh no, this is all wrong. The house is wrong. No red in the movie." Because I watched the movie the other night again, and she's like, "Oh, I don't want the color red in the movie." And Walt made a good point. The buses and the mailbox and the soldiers and the freaking England flag, Walt Disney was not the friendly soul that you claim he is in this movie. I mean, yeah, of course he was friendly, but he had that notorious cough. He smoked in one scene. It was great.
Well, I think what people have to realize is that yes, Walt Disney is on appearance, he looks like a charming dude. He looks like, oh man, he's bringing this magic into people's homes. He's a businessman, first and foremost. Like, he's there to make money. And so, he's going to have, like what Brian said, kind of like that kind of business sense about him. And, it's not going to rub people the right way,
Yeah, exactly. And it's just a marvelous movie. It was one of my favorite movies of 2013. I think it's
Brian,
one of the more
breaking news, Brian is actually Walt Disney, because I heard the cough. So he is back from the dead. Oh shit. So I'm freaking out right now because I'm talking to the recently revived zombie Walt Disney.
No, his head's frozen under the Pirates of the Caribbean ride.
Oh yeah, I forgot. Conspiracy theory.
Yes, but no, it's fantastic movie. Everyone should check it out if they haven't. It's really wonderful. Yeah, I think it's Disney's best live action movie. I mean, it's their most mature movie, and I hope that they continue doing stuff like that, because when I look at the live action movies they have coming up, there's really none that seem to have that mature vibe, except for the one that Ava DuVernay is directing, A Wrinkle in Time, which comes out in March.
Yes.
That doesn't. I don't think that's going to be PG-13.
They'll probably have more of a Bridge to Terabithia feel.
Yeah, I think it's going to have more of a vibe like that, and I think Ava DuVernay, Selma was great, 13th was great, so, it's probably going to be a hell of a good movie, so yeah, Save Mr. Banks is my favorite live-action Disney film thus far.
As you were talking, I was thinking about this. John Lee Hancock is kind of hit or miss as a director, but pulling the performances out of his actors, he's very consistent. If you watch The Founder with Michael Keaton, or Saving Mr. Banks with Colin Farrell, Tom Hanks, and Emma Thompson, or The Blind Side, which, Sandra Bullock did win that Oscar, he always brings really great performances out of his actors, even if his movies are kind of a hit and miss. So I do appreciate John Lee Hancock for that, because he's really good at doing his job, which is a director's job. If you guys don't know, his primary job, his or her job, is to bring the best performance they can out of their actors. And then all the rest of the stuff comes second. So, yeah, I've always found him to be very consistent on that. So, yeah, so that's it, guys. That is our top 5 list. Let me read them off one more time. Brian, 5 through 1, Remember the Titans, Bridge to Terabithia, Sky High, The Muppets, and Saving Mr. Banks. For myself, from 5 to 1, Saving Mr. Banks, Honey, I Shrunk the Kids, Cool Runnings, Heavyweights, and Remember the Titans. God damn it, I am such a 90s kid. All right, so getting into some of the honorable mentions, I'm not going to read them all off because there's so fucking many of them. I'm just going to read off the ones that I actually watched as a kid, really enjoyed. I will say this. I've actually seen the original Parent Trap. I really like it quite a bit. And I actually do like the Lindsay Lohan remake. I like them both. Let's see. I have seen Treasure Island, and that's one of the first ones they ever did. I remember I watched it in English class one time, so I will give them that one. Of course, I'm just kind of thinking of these. I'm jumping around. Flubber, good old Robin Williams movie. I like that one quite a bit. It's such a goofy movie. So bad though. The Mighty Ducks, great underdog sports film. Like if you want to think about the top Disney ones, like Disney sports films, it's Remember the Titans, Mighty Ducks, and Cool Runnings. Like it's always and forever will be those. Hocus Pocus is a guilty pleasure of mine. The Santa Claus, good old Timothy Allen. I actually really like the first one quite a bit, actually. Angels in the Outfield is a good one.
Oh, yes.
Let's see. I'm trying to think. No, I'll put that in the... Oh, and I guess the last one I will put in my honorable mentions is Air Bud. I like it. Sue me. So those are some of my honorable mentions. Like I said, I can't list them all because there's a lot of them. But I have seen a shit ton of live-action Disney films. But those are the ones that kind of stick out as like the better ones. Because I don't want to just list off for the fuck of it. I don't know. I guess, you know what? Pirates of the Caribbean, Curse of the Black Pearl. There you go. So I'll end my list with that. Brian, what about you? What are some of the ones that you really like?
You know, I only have one that's like before the 80s, and that's Mary Poppins. You know,
oh yeah,
that's
okay.
the only one.
Mary Poppins. I'll put that on mine as well. We were just talking about it too.
Yeah, exactly. You know, I have a guilty pleasure for the first try. The second one we'll talk about later. Flight the Navigator. I enjoyed when I was a kid. That was fun. Honey, I Shrunk the Kids. The Rocketeer, if people have not seen it, it's really fucking good. The Mighty Ducks, The Muppets Christmas Carol, the first Homeward Bound, you know, Michael J. Fox as a dog.
Yeah.
Fuck yes. Hocus Pocus, I mean, it's okay. A lot of kids my age love that movie. I think it's okay. It's fine, I guess. One movie that I don't get why people dislike it is fucking Angels in the Outfield. I fucking love Angels in the Outfield.
I love that one.
Young Joseph Gordon-Levitt, you know, it's great. Cool Runs, I haven't seen it. The first Santa Claus for sure. Heavyweights, definitely. Muppet Treasure Island. You know what? When I was a little kid, I had a huge love for George of the Jungle. So, you know, that was a guilty pleasure of mine with Brendan Fraser as the main character. So, you know, I had fun with it. Air Bud, Flubber, yeah, I loved that when I was a kid. Haven't seen it since. The Parent Trap with Lindsay Lohan is fucking incredible. And if people say it sucks, then fuck you.
Listen, I will always contend that she did 2 great movies before she fell off the wagon. It's Mean Girls and Parent Trap. Other than that, everything else she's done is not good. But those 2 movies gave us promise that she was going to be good, and then she fucked it up. I will say that. So,
well, another honorable mention. I love Freaky Friday. I think her and Jamie Lee Curtis are incredible together.
Freaky
So,
Friday's,
like, I thought that was great.
It's a good one.
The Rookie with Dennis Quaid. I like the second Santa Claus. Holes is fantastic.
Yes.
The first Pirates of the Caribbean is great. Miracle's good. I loved the first National Treasure when I was... Actually, no, I liked both of them when I was a kid. I haven't seen them in a long time. You know, Nicolas Cage in a Disney movie alone is just insane to me. So that's awesome. The greatest game ever played, the second directorial effort from Bill Paxton, with Shia LaBeouf playing a golfer. Really great. Awesome. The first Narnia, Eight Below with Paul Walker, rest in peace. Invincible with Mark Wahlberg, Marky Mark. High School Musical 3. It's great. I'm sorry. There's so many. Oh my God, there's so many.
That's why I try to shorten it as little as possible.
I know. No, that was Muppets Most Wanted was okay. $1 Million Arm with John Hamm, that was good. Alexander and the Terrible Horrible No Good Very Bad Day, long fucking title, holy fuck, with Steve Carell. I thought it was really enjoyable. McFarlane USA was good. Cinderella was good. A lot of people shit on this movie. I fucking liked Tomorrowland. I understand it was a little bit of a disappointment, but I liked it for what it was. The Jungle Book was great. I liked the BFG. I liked Pete's Dragon. And, I know Chase didn't really care for Beauty and the Beast. I thought it was fine. I don't think it was terrible. That's it.
And I forgot to mention, I know these aren't technically they're more documentaries, but I really do appreciate. I like the Disney nature films. I do. I like the little docuseries that they do. So, yeah. Moving on to dishonorable mentions. I gotta tell you, most of mine are actually from the 2010s on up. Alice in Wonderland, no thank you. Tron Legacy, very disappointing. It was such a bloated mess. I don't remember much from that movie. I just remember Daft Punk was in a club. The
score. Listen,
the score was fine. Yes,
the score was awesome.
It was fine. It's just the movie. Nah. Maleficent, no fucking thank you. Tomorrowland was a humongous disappointment. Pete's Dragon's fine. It's just I think people hyped it up too much. Oz the Great and Powerful, didn't really care for. Like I said, it's mostly from the 2010s. If I go back, my roommate's dog is apparently having a seizure over there. Are you okay? You okay, ma'am? All right. So, yeah, that's about it. And I guess to cap it all off, the greatest film ever told, Tim Allen's The Shaggy Dog remake. So, Brian, what are some of the ones that you just don't fucking like?
Okay, Snow Dogs, The Country Bears, Snow Dogs with Mr. Cubican Jr.
Fucking Snow Dogs, I forgot about that one.
The fucking Country Bears.
I remember that one too. I remember when that came out in theaters. I was like, who's paying to watch this?
I don't know. I know this movie sucks, and it is really bad, but I only watch it for Eddie Murphy. The Haunted Mansion is fucking terrible, but you know what? It's not the worst thing ever. It's pretty bad, though. It is pretty bad. The Pacifier. Ugh. Yeah, we'll talk about that later. The third Pirates of the Caribbean, not a fan. Underdog with Jason Lee as a dog. No, thank you. College Road Trip with Martin Lawrence. Yeah.
Oh, good Lord. Disney making a college movie is the worst idea ever.
You know what the weirdest... Chase, I'm not making this up. My coworker played the son in that movie.
What?
I'm not even joking. He said to me, I was in this movie with Martin Lawrence. And I'm like, oh, coolio. It was probably Big Mama's house. And then when I looked him up, it said College Road Trip. And I'm like, oh.
Wow.
I told him straight up, I'm like, look, no offense, but that movie fucking sucks. He's like, no, I get it. It's totally understandable. When I was a kid, I just liked working with Raven Simone. I'm like, hey, if I was a kid, I would enjoy working with her too. Beverly Hills Chihuahua.
Oh, good Lord. Did you know that they're up to number 4?
Oh, no. George, George, what the fuck are you doing?
They make them straight to DVD now, and it's the most embarrassing thing.
Oh, George, what are you doing to yourself? Oh, God. Have you seen Bedtime Stories? Because it's
I mean,
Adam Sandler?
I'm sure that movie's better than most of the stuff we've seen from Adam lately.
It is. G-Force Gross. I remember seeing that in the theater with my grandfather.
The fucking spy hamsters. Oh my god. I remember that because I was working in the theater, right? And like, I walked in there. There might have been 2 people in there. I looked up for a second. There was a hamster that like farted on another hamster. I was like, I'm done. I'm out. So I just walked away.
Absolute shit. Old Dogs with John Travolta and Robin Williams. That was not good.
Old Dogs, I remember that too.
The only thing I remember from it is Seth Green is like being carried by a gorilla. He's like,
yes.
all out of love, so lost without you.
I remember that.
Oh god. Alice in Wonderland shit. Prince of Persia shit. Sorcerer's Apprentice shit. Tron Legacy not good. Prom stupid. John Carter. Oz the Great and Powerful. Lone Ranger garbage. Maleficent terrible. Into the Woods. The Finest Hours boring. Alice Through the Looking Glass mediocre. And that's it. And the worst,
Brian,
the Shaggy Dog. Shaggy Dog, go fuck yourself.
Brian, can you ask me? What the plot of Maleficent is?
What is the plot of Maleficent?
I'm so misunderstood.
I know.
I'm misunderstood, Brian. It's okay. I kill a lot of people, but I'm misunderstood.
Oh my god, so terrible. You know, she was good in the movie, but she was the only thing in the movie that was good.
Correct. The movie around it was also garbage. But I want to know from you guys, what are some of your favorite and least favorite live-action Disney films? I would like to know down below. You 4 people that continue to comment every single week, continue to comment because I love you guys. All right, so Brian, what are we doing next week?
Next week, Wonder Woman comes out, but unfortunately, we've already done pretty much anything you could do to honor Wonder Woman. Female-led action movies, superhero films. So we're going to tackle an indie film that comes out next week called Band-Aid, which I've seen. You know, I don't mean to brag, but I've seen it, and it's fucking fantastic. We are going to be doing films about music.
Interesting. Yeah, well, we're going to do something different. I know that Wonder Woman's the big cheese next week, but, you know, we do a lot of superhero top 5s and whatnot, and yes, we could be very clickbaity and do it again, but we have dignity, well, a little bit, and so we're going to change it up for next week and do top 5 films. Did you say based on music or about music?
Films about music.
Films about. Okay, see, this is the first time I'm hearing about this, so you guys have to bear with me here. So yeah, it sounds a lot of fun. So yeah. So that will be next week. This week's episode is now officially wrapped up. Brian, where can the people find you online?
You can find me on Twitter at BrianSuts98. No, not that's my former Twitter name. Excuse me. Film Junkie Brian. You can find me on Twitter at Film Junkie Brian and on YouTube at Brian Sutfield.
That's right, and you can find me on Twitter at Real Chasely. Subscribe to the YouTube channel so you can get updates on when we do these episodes live and whatnot, and you know, get them when they go up, and hit that little notification bell so you know when our new episode is in your feed, so you can go check that out. And of course, Brian and I both have podcasts that drop every single Sunday on both of our channels, so go check those out. All the links in the description will be below, motherfuckers. You guys are awesome. We love you all. I'm Chasely.
And I'm Brian Sutfield.
That's fucking right. See you guys next week for films about music. All right, bye.